is Irontrader, and this is the weekend edition. Today we're going to take a look here at some candlestick charts. We're going to look at some chart patterns, and then we're going to go over a few commodities here. We're going to look at Bitcoin, we're going to look at gold, and we're going to look at silver. And then we're going to take a look here at Tesla and NVDA. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, sell any stock, commodity, ETF. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, I use candlesticks, and I think they really work good for support and resistance levels. What you always want to do is look to the previous day's high, the low, and the closing number just to see where you stand, okay? So sometimes you just got to get back to basics, and I know that these candles here, we all seen this before, but they work really, really good, okay? That's the key. Now, what we're looking at here, this is bullish engulfing. What we have a red candle, and then what we do is you put in a lower low, but then it just starts rising up and engulfs that whole previous day. Okay, very, very good. Now, again, if you're bearish, this is a good one that you want. Again, if you're bearish, because you have a green candle and you think, oh, it's going to go up. But what it does, it comes down, or it could possibly just shoot right on up here, and then it puts in the top and it comes right down, and then it puts in a lower low and it finishes at the bottom. That's not really good at all. Now, this is always very, very good, because what you have is you have a big red candle, and you think, oh, this could go right down lower, but what you get is you get this inside day. Okay, and then that always tells you this could be a reversal coming on. Now, here's just the opposite, where you have the big green candle here, okay? And then we have the opposite here. We have the inside day, but it's a red candle. Now, here's the old bullish kicker. This is always one I like to trade, because what you do is you get a red candle, and a lot of traders think, oh, it's going to keep going lower. Well, what happens was it starts up higher, and it just rips right higher, and then all the shorts got to cover, and then she goes higher. Now, this is always very, very positive, because this is, I always talk about this, where you have a series of higher lows and higher highs. That's always very, very bullish. And this is just the opposite, where you have a series of lower highs and lower lows, okay? Now, here's just the opposite of the old bullish kicker, is where you have a nice green candle, and you think it's going to rip higher. What happens is it starts at the bottom, and then once you lose that bottom, then she comes all the way on down. Okay, so just take a look at some of these. These are real simple candlesticks, and it gives you a good idea of what's, how to trade candlesticks and some stuff to kind of like look for. Okay, let's go to the next chart. Okay, here's a little cheat sheet that I always use here, okay? So I'm always looking for an advantage in trading, okay? So here's your bullish section, and here's your bearish section. Now, never look at the bearish section as a bad thing, because if a lot of times I trade the stocks, ETFs, both directions. So bearish a lot of times works very, very well. And then when you get into these neutral areas, well, that's kind of, you just don't know really what to do. So you want to always wait till the next day to see what happens. So here's like a hammer. What we do is it comes, goes all the way down, and then it finishes all the way on the top, okay? And that's always very, very bullish, okay? So that's always one thing that we want to look for. And then we have this inverted hammer here, okay? So that's pretty much the same thing, but it finishes green. So you think that, wow, this is a shooting star, this is a topping tail, but when it finishes green, that's just the opposite, okay? So that's exactly what we're kind of looking for here on a bullish side. Okay, then we have these continuation patterns, okay? So this is what I always like looking for, is that series of higher highs and higher lows, okay? And then we have this big red candle, and you wipe out all three of those days, okay? So a lot of times what this does is it'll take right back off again. So this is always something which you want to look for as a continuating of a higher high. Okay, so now in bullish engulfing, okay, we just looked at that, where you have your red candle, and then what you do is you go down lower, but you engulf the previous days, and then you just rip right on higher. Now, tweezer bottoms, I always point these out here, where it just looks like a tweezer, just sticky. Okay, now again, when you see that, okay, when you have the green, well, that just shows it that you're going to go right up higher. Okay, now this is one pattern I always like, is this is almost pretty much like a bull flag kind of a situation, like we'll have right here. So we have a green candle, and then it's flagging down. You get a series of lower highs and lower lows, but you notice that they're smaller candles, and then you get a bounce off that bottom, and it wipes out all three of those candles. Very, very nice. Now, this morning star is always very bullish, because what you got is a red candle, and then you have like an indecision candle, but then what it does is it rips up and it tears your face right off, and takes right back to the previous high. Very, very nice. Now, these are always very good here for bullish because what you have is you have like a big red candle and then a smaller one and a smaller one. That's usually where you get the old reversal, okay? Now, here's a perfect bullish flag kind of situation. You get your one big green candle, and then you have these little small candles here like a flag, and then once you get above that top of that candle, then it just rips the face right off and engulfs all three of those candles and that candle, and it just takes it much higher. Now, hanging man, you never want to really see this because that's just the opposite of what that hammer is. Because when you see these here, these are basically, when you see the redness on here, that looks like that's definitely going to go lower, okay? Same way with here. You get a topping tail, it goes right into resistance, and it finishes right on the bottom. Now, these here are these continuation patterns here. You always got to be careful of these here because what you have is you have a down pattern. It looks like it's going to keep rolling up. Then you get that green candle takes out all three candles. However, that can fall off the map here very, very quickly. Now, here's the same thing. This is that bearish engulfing where you get a green candle and then the day starts off higher. And then once you close below that bottom of the candle, then she just goes lower and then it takes a trade right off, okay? So tweezer tops is just basically like versus the tweezer bottom where you get a run up here and then it finishes down. But the next day, you get that same thing in that tweezer and then boom, big ass red candle. Now, this is just like a bear flag kind of a situation, pretty much what you have here, where you get that red candle and then it rallies all the way up here, but it really can't get above the top of that candle. And then you get that red and it just crashes all three of those, takes all three of those days out, and then it goes lower and can continue going lower, okay? Now, these here, what you don't want to, obviously don't want to see because what you have is a big green candle, and then you get these smaller candles, and you think that's going to rally right on up here, and most of the time it just falls right off the map here. Same with the evening star. You get a green candle, and then you get that indecision, just the opposite of what I have here. Then you get that red candle, and then she falls right off. Now, here's a perfect a bear flag. You get that candle, and then we just rally up here, but you can't get higher than what we have here. That's always a sell signal, and then it looks like a fake out because it goes a little bit higher, and then it wipes out all three of those candles, okay? Now, this here is an indecision kind of candle, top and bottom in the same way here. So these here, when you get these candles here, always wait to the next day to see exactly what kind of reaction you're going to get off of those. Okay, let's go to the next chart. Okay, here we have chart patterns, okay? So what we have here, this is what I always look for is these double top situations, okay? Where stock or ETF or whatever rolls right up here, it comes down, it kind of takes that midline, and it rallies up, but the problem is it can't get through that higher high, or it does a little bit, and then it falls all the way on down, okay? So this here is just the reverse, where you have a big down day, comes on up, comes here, and then you can have it, once you break that neckline, then you can send that bad boy way up higher, okay? So always look for these double tops. These are always selling opportunities. These double bottoms are, most of the time, these are buying opportunities. And once you get it over that neckline, she comes right up higher here. So, okay, so here's an example of what that is, where it doesn't, it can go up high, and then maybe anytime you put like a lower high in, then you got to watch all the way down to see what happens at the neckline, because this is what a perfect opportunity, which you could example, I should say, on what happens is when you lose that neckline, then she comes flying down. Same way here when you have that double bottom situation, comes all the way down, goes all up here, and then puts in a higher low. That's always very positive, but always watch when it gets to that neckline. Now, again, when it gets to this neckline, sometimes it just goes sideways or it'll come back down again. But if it starts breaking up, then you can always add to your position. So if you say you bought it down here, as a lot of times I do, I always talk about that retest. Buy that retest. So when it comes on up here and it goes down, you buy that retest, and once it gets above that neckline, okay, then you can add to your position to take it higher like we do, like right example right there. Now, here's a head and shoulders pattern, okay? So I always look at these. I always kind of pull. We have actually one that's building an inverse here right now on the crude oil on the daily chart. But let's just look at the negative here first. So inverse is it runs up here, and then you have like a head, and then here's a shoulder. So left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. And then you watch that neckline. If it breaks, then you're going to come right on down. Situation like this here, okay? Where you run up here, there's your head, there's your left shoulder, there's your right shoulder, and then she comes flying right on down. And this is a perfect example. And then she comes right on down. So always look for these patterns within the charts. Now, this is something that I always like to do because this is that inverse head and shoulders. You come on down, and then it shoots up here, then watch that neckline. And then this is the example of exactly what it'll actually look like in reality versus the lines. And then once you break that neckline, then she can come up shooting up very, very nice. Now, when you get these rising wedges here, okay, so this can come flying on down here very easy. So when you get this, it's almost like a bear flag situation, okay? So you're riding up, and a lot of times you think, oh, it's a bull flag. Well, bull flag is just the opposite. It goes downwards, okay? Just like what we have here. And then what you do is it rises up, and that wedge gets tighter. See how tight that wedge will get? Okay? And then what happens is when you start losing that trend line, then this is what happens here, and she can come flying right on down. Now, this is just the opposite because what you're doing is that wedge is getting tight, but it's on the downside, okay? Just like we have here. See, you're following it down. But once you break out of that trend line, just like here, then what to do is you just snap and it goes right back on up here, okay? So here's another wedge kind of a situation where you can see where the wedge always gets tighter, okay? It gets tighter. And that way, what it's going to do, it's going to break one way or the other. But usually when you have that rising wedge, this is the scenario of what happens. When you have the descending wedge, okay, down, up, down, and it gets tighter, then this is what happens because once you break that neckline, then she'll shoot right on up here. So check out these chart patterns here and always try to look, within your chart, your daily chart, your weekly, your monthly, for patterns like this here to give you just that little bit of edge. Okay, here we have Bitcoin. Okay, so now I just want to show you a pattern that's inside of the pattern. Okay, so if we look at this section right here, okay, see what you have here? You have your left shoulder, you have your head, you have your right shoulder. Once you broke this neckline right here, look what happened. It ran right on up. Okay, very, very nicely. Now you say, well, how much did it run up? Well, right there, your high was 66,870, and you ran all the way up to 72.60. Okay, so that's a really good run up here on the old Bitcoin. Okay, so these are just what I was talking about, the pattern inside of the whole pattern kind of a situation. Now, when we look at Bitcoin here, we can see what happened is, okay, what we have over here is you have a 72,360, and then we put in 72,660, so we had a little bit higher high here. But you notice that realistically, that was a double top situation. Okay, so that's another example of where you ran up and then you put like a topping tail situation, and now she's rolling over. And then when you look at this 8 SMA here, that now crossed the 21-day, and now your price is below this key 50 simple moving average. Okay, so what we want to do now is say, okay, well, where is this going to go? Well, we want to look at this 64,890, that's your price channel, which is basically the bottom of that candle right there, 64,880. Now, again, if that is lost here, we can follow these candles, but realistically, what you're looking for is this 62.97. Okay, now again, if that's lost, just come here on the weekly chart. Okay, always want to incorporate the weekly chart and even like a monthly chart. Look at that every so often. But your daily and your weekly, because there's a lot of good support and resistance levels on that kind of a situation here. Okay, so when you look at this, the next level is going to be that 61,962 if it gets there. Okay, but again, usually it should hold this 100 SMA here. If not, then we look at that 21 SMA. Now, again, if that's lost, then what we can do is we can follow these candles down here. See, you have 59,265. Then we'll follow this candle. Okay, you have 57,265, and then we have the big retest down here at 56,910. Okay, so that would bring that price channel here right on down. Now, again, we just have a sideways trading action here. We did have that inverse head and shoulders here, which took us up to this point here. But again, you got a little bit above it, but we couldn't get above the next level here. So what we're looking for on the upside now is to reclaim this 50-day. See this 50-day? Okay, 66,223. Now, if you can, well, then next level here is going to be that 68,737. And then we're looking here at your 8 SMA here at 68,919. Again, if that goes on up here, we follow these candles, 78,480. And then we have here 70,655. And then we can come back to this candle here at that 72,360 and then right to the top of there at 72,660. But realistically, on the upside, this is what you're watching is that key 8 SMA here, the 21 simple moving average, that 8 simple moving average there. Now, this 8-day here is sort of holding here. You're at 66,860 here, okay? So this is going to be very, very crucial. Again, if that's lost, you come to the 100-day, and then we come to the 21 SMA, and then we just follow the candles down to get to the bottom. But for the upside, you just really need to reclaim these key levels, that 8, that 21, and that 8, and then we just follow the candles up here. Now, again, you can get above all that. We just bring this right over here. So that's what you're looking at is 73,380, and then we can go to your big retest at 74,450. Now, again, if you close back above that, say this rips up here, and you close back above that, well, then you got blue sky, which really realistically means what you're going to do is you're going to go to the next level, which is going to be 100K. That's going to be very easy, okay? Very evident, I should say. But right now, we just have some sideways action. We got to see if this price channel here is going to close at 64,890. If it does, then that would hold that support level here, and then we got a chance to rally it right back up here, okay? Get it back above the 50, the 21, and the 8-day, and then maybe even do the real retest. Okay, let's take a look here at the next chart. Okay, here we have gold. Now, gold, you can see, had just a fantastic run here off the bottom. Now, when you look at this chart here, you can see here how you're holding that 8 simple moving average, ran on up here, and then once you lose that, then she comes right on down. Now, again, when we had a high here, you had 24,480, and then you had 24,454 here, okay? So 24,48, I should say, and then 24,54. So this here was your double top situation. Even though you put it a little bit higher, okay, double tops don't have to be necessarily a lower high, but as long as we had that double top, see how she fell right down. Now, it's holding that 50-day here really, really nicely until we got this big ass red candle. Now, what we got here is just almost like a bear flag situation going here. See how that is? Bear flag situation. But then again, we came on down, but we're holding this level here. So you look at this price channel, okay, 2304. So far, you're holding it. That's going to be very, very key. So look at the downside first here, okay? So if it can hold that, then the next level here, if it can hold, I should say, is going to be 2285, okay? That's going to be next level. And then what we always want to do here is you want to look at your moving averages. But on this case here, you always look to the left of the chart. So you want to look at the top of this candle right here at that 100-day and look at the high of 2225. And then we'll look to the top of this candle here at 2203. Bring those price channels right across, okay? And that gives you your support levels here again, okay? But you want to look at that 2235 here because it lines up really, really nice here with your 2236 here on your 21-day, and that always provides good support. Again, if that's lost here, just follow to the left of these candles. These are going to be all your good support levels because as something runs up, then it comes down. That was the breakout, okay? So we always look there because that was the breakout of that candle, and then same way with here. See, we had the top here, but then we came this candle. That was the breakout, and then she went right on up here. Now, what we have to look at here on the upside is you always want to look here at this 8 SMA. Now, we're just barely above that, but 2344, and then right next here, you're looking at 2357, and then we want to look at that 21 SMA here at 2362, okay? So that's going to be always very, very critical is these simple moving averages. Now, again, if we can get above, then we just follow the candles. You got 2377 there. You have 2397, and then that's what you could be looking for is this 2406 level right there, okay? Again, if you can get above that, we can see what we had here on this candle here, 2404, 2406. See that? That's why that candle stopped right there, okay? So always look to the left of the chart. Now, again, if you can get above that, then we can come over here, 2433, and then look always to the left, 2448, and then we can go up that 2454 level here, okay? But realistically, we have to clear that 50 SMA here. This is going to be very, very critical. And that 21-day, and we're just above the 8 simple moving average. You really need to hold that there on the upside. But once you get above that, just follow those candles, but always look at this one because that lined up perfectly with that for that double top. And then we follow the candles until you have your breakout of 2454. Now, downside, just watch that key price channel, 2304, and then watch right that bottom of that candle at that 2285. And then we have that nice 100-day at 2235, 2236 level. Lines up very, very nice here on the old gold. Okay, let's go to the next chart. Okay, here we have silver, your daily and your weekly chart. Now, you can see here where you made that 32.75. And then we rallied all the way up here, and what do you have? 32.51. See that? double top situation. So this is when I started this video off. I wanted to show you a couple examples of candlesticks there and of chart patterns, okay? Because see, it all incorporates in all the charts that we're looking at here. See, where you had that, we'll go at 32.75, and then we come into that retest at 32.51. You notice that couldn't get higher. See, that's a double top situation, and that fell right on down. Now what you have here is a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, and then now we're all the way down here. But you notice right now we're holding that key 50 simple moving average. Okay, so let's look at the downside first. So if that's lost, what you want to do is come right to the bottom of this candle here. You're looking at that 26.73. Very, very crucial. And then what we can do is we just follow these candles here right on down. So next level there, you're looking at 28.18 here. What do we have here? You got 27.51. You have 27.24. 26.65, and then we come right down to the bottom there at 26.25, just below this key 100-day at 26.46 here. Okay. Now you notice on the weekly here where you went below that 8 SMA for the week, but we're back above it. Okay. So 29.30. That's what you're looking for right now. Okay. So you close at 29.62. So we're just above. So as long as you can hold this 8 SMA and this 50-day SMA here, you got a good shot here of taking this right back higher. Okay, so watch this key 8 SMA. That's going to be key, that 29.82. Then we'll watch the top of this candle. That's at 30.35. And then we have that 30.62, that key 21 simple moving average. We got to see if that can shake out. So that 8, the 21-day. Now, again, if we can get above that, then we'll come to the top here, 31.04. Then we have here 31.47, and then we come right there at 31.67, and then just follow the candles, 31.94, 32.28, and then we go to that second candle, 32.51, and then there's your main candle at 32.75 and your breakout level. You break 32.75, you're going to go at 35 bucks. Okay, that's just, you're going to go to that round number. A lot of times, stocks, commodities like that round simple number. But again, watch that 8 SMA here and watch that 50-day. As long as that holds, you got a good shot at this going sideways or even higher. Okay, let's take a look here now at the next chart, which will be Tesla. Okay, here we have Tesla. Now, you know, I'm a fan of Elon Musk, but I'm just losing interest in him because of what's going on here. Okay, so he got this big pay package, and you can see where it ran right on up here. But again, it couldn't hold anything. All that was buy the rumor, sell the news. You knew he was going to get the pay package. So that wasn't really like no big thing, okay? But then remember, that's 56 billion, not million, billion that he got. Now you absolutely liquidated out the shareholders here on Tesla. And if you look at their numbers, okay, they've been declining here for a long time. I mean, their revenues, their production, and you know what I'm saying, in their sales have just been declining here, you know, quarter after quarter. Now, what this is on the 8th, on August 8th, so just keep that in mind, your back burner, I should say, is on August 8th, what they're going to do is they're going to come out with this robo-taxi. Now, the key is he going to do like the Cybertruck and have one or two, you know, or is he going to have a whole fleet of these robo cars that he can actually ship out and say, hey, these are ready for production. This is going on out. Now, again, even if he has a fleet of these, you got to figure you got to actually put these in. I know they're tested. I get all that. I'm down with that sickness. However, when you get these in actual on the streets and you see how these perform, that's what you have to look at. And are there going to be problems? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? So this self-driving all sounds good. But again, you know what I'm saying? It's all good on paper. But, you know, like anybody else, when you're driving down the street, sometimes those roads aren't exactly like on paper. Okay, so that's what we have to kind of look at here. Okay, so again, if he has one or two and say, oh, we're going to do production in 2025, well, what's that going to do to the old stock here? Okay, so another thing you have to look at, he's talking about coming out with a $25,000 car. First of all, he was going to come out with that. Then he said, no, he scrapped the idea. And now before the pay package, he's going to come out with a $25,000 car. I think it's pretty much impossible unless he gets some giant subsidies here. The lithium batteries, which is the biggest part of these cars here, are just so expensive here. You're talking about lithium, nickel, and cobalt here. You got to do, that's all mined product. I can't see where that's going to get that much cheaper here. Okay, so just remember that this might be a lot of bullshit going here. So just take that into consideration. Because when you look at this stock here, okay, see this high, lower high, lower high, lower high. I mean, it's just really a whole lot of nothing going on here. Okay, so let's just look at the chart. So just I always want to let you know exactly what it is before you're dealing with a company here. Okay, like for me, I'm a trader. I don't really give a rat's ass if this goes higher or lower. If it goes higher, I'll buy TSLA. If it goes lower, I'll buy TSLS and short it down. For me, it doesn't make any. I'm just looking at making money on the stock. Now you can see where this popped up. And then we left a little gap there. Okay, so what we had there on the bottom was 180.123, and then on the top 180.55. Now you can see this candle here, it filled that gap, so that gap is all taken care of. Now we lost really this 100-day at 178. Now we came right down to this 21-day here at 177.16, and then right below it is we have this 8 SMA here at 176.58. Now your key support level here is going to be this 50-day at 172.61. If that is lost, we look to the bottom of this candle here. We're looking at 160.80, and then we have 169.80, and then we have 167.41, which is here. Now, again, if this is lost, I just want to point out to you here the gap situation. Okay, so right here we have this gap. This is 157.51. Now, you know how when I watch my videos, gaps and fills to me are like magnets to a refrigerator. Eventually, they will get filled. So we look at the bottom here. You're looking at 157.51, and then we look to the top of this candle at 147.26. There's your gap, and there's your fill. Then we look to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 141.11, and there's your big retest down there at 138.80. Now, again, somehow this sells off. That's lost. This is your big retest at 101.81. Now, this right here was when he was selling Tesla stock to try to buy X. Okay. So, or Twitter, whatever the hell it is. Okay, so this came all the way on down. Now, that was a good buying opportunity to take it up. That's what I did. But this was a really nice short because you could see him taking money out of the company. That was TSLS was a really good short and easy way to short it all the way on down here. Now, again, I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I just want to point out the gap, the fill, this support level, 138.80, and then 101.81. Now, again, what you're really going to be watching here is watch out all these key levels. Okay, watch that 100-day at 178.35 here because you're just below that. Then watch that 21-day 177.16, that 8 SMA here 176.58, and then this 50-day at 172.61. If that's lost, we'll come right here at 169.80, and then we have that 167.41. Very, very crucial. Now, again, if this does rally up here, well, then we look here to the top of this candle here. We look at 180.55, and then we can look back here at Friday's high at 186, and then we have 191. Again, if you can get above all that, then we can come over to the top of this candle. You're looking at 198.87, and then your big target up here at 209.29 here. But that's not really looking anything of that great nature. So we'll take a look here on the weekly. So when you look at the weekly chart here of Tesla, you can see this big indecision candle going on. Okay, so just look at that, all those chart patterns, what I said in the front. Okay, so we have this big indecision candle here for the week. Okay, so you rallied up here, all the way here to your 191.08 here, but you couldn't even get up here to the top level here at that 198.87. Okay, so this is what you got to pay attention to here next week is watch that high at 191.08 and watch that low 167.41. This is going to be very, very crucial here on a closing basis here. Okay, so this is what you want to watch next week. So again, if you lose that, then we just come to the left of the chart here. We start following these candles. But just remember about these gaps. Now, it could come all the way down here and hold it. It doesn't necessarily have to fill the gap right now instantly, but eventually I think this is going to get filled. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I think eventually this is going to get filled here on this Tesla because they have to find a way on how to sell these cars. I know like General Motors now and Ford, they're cutting way, way back on this here. And now even Ford, all their dealers that were paying millions of dollars, I don't know what it was, $1 million, $2 million to get, they had to get the EVs there, so they have charging units. Now Ford is eliminating all that here. So, again, the people will tell you what they want, okay? My personal opinion, I think if you go to the car lot, it should be your choice. If you want a diesel, you buy a diesel. You want gas, you buy gas. If you want a hybrid, you buy a hybrid. If you want electric, you buy electric. They should have all four of them offered, and you choose. They're not going to try to force something down my throat because, like to the American people, they're going to say just the opposite. Screw you, okay? Nobody's going to tell me what to do, kind of a situation. So they have to always remember that you're not going to force anything down. So again, just watch these key simple moving averages and then watch the bottom of this candle. This is very crucial at 167.41. The upside, you really have to get right back in the game at 191.08, and then we can come all the way to the top here at that 198.87 and possibly up here to your 200-day at 209.28. Now remember, don't be afraid here to trade this both ways. TSLA for the long, TSLS works great for the short. Okay, so make money either way, no matter what happens. Okay, next one we're going to look at is my favorite, is going to be NVIDIA. Okay, we're going to look at NVIDIA, and you're going to see this big spike here. Now, this came at the end of the day. I have no idea what the hell this really is. All it does is just screwed up my charts, okay? So, again, we just kind of eliminate that from the factor here, okay? So where just all of a sudden it just blasted, closed at 121.79, all of a sudden up to 195.95. So I don't know what that's all about. It could have been some big shooter selling something or whatever it was after the fact. But we just going to eliminate that. So what we're really looking at here, basically on the downside, is this right here. 124.21. Okay, so I just want to point this out to you. This is very, very key. As long as that 8-day holds, okay, this stock is good. Can go sideways and higher, okay, with not a problem. Okay, if you lose that 8 SMA here, we follow these candles all the way down. So you got 122.57, you got 118.74, you got 117.01 here. You follow it all the way down till you hit your 112.20, and then maybe even near 97.46. Now, there's just a couple things I want to do is point out to you here. Okay, so we look at the bottom of this candle here. You're looking at 106.94, and then we'll look here to the top of this candle is 106.48. So there's a gap, and then there's your fill. Okay, now the next gap and fill is right here. Okay, so look at the bottom there. That's 101.52 gap, and then look to the top of this candle at 96.02. So your gap and your fill. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, I'm just going to say it again. 106.94 gap. Okay, 106.48 gap fill. That's going to be your support levels. Next one there is going to be 101.52 gap, and then the top of that candle at 96.02. So you have two gaps here, two fills, kind of a situation going on here with the NVIDIA. Now, again, as long as you hold that 8 SMA here, this is going to be a good trading stock here. I've been buying this right off the 8 SMA and then taking it higher for the day. I mean, this is just some phenomenal trading going on. Now that they cut the price down to, like $130, that's a hell of a lot better than, $12, $14, $16, $1,300 kind of a stock. You know what I'm saying? So this is actually a great trader. A lot of people are going to get in. But again, if this sells down and holds that 8 SMA, 124.21, get in and then take it long again. But don't be afraid to sell it. Don't be afraid to trade this. Okay? I have a long position from way back, but I trade it every freaking day. This has got great trading stock here. So just watch that 8 SMA, 124.21, very, very key. But once it starts losing all of this, and eventually this market is going to sell, because I think what you're in there, you're in a topping situation here, and technology is really running. But eventually this AI is going to catch up. And then I'm not saying today or tomorrow, but usually like towards that fall level, if it comes down here, then what you want to do is always look for that buying opportunity. And it might be this gap, it might be that fill kind of a situation. That way you can really double up, triple up, quadruple up on your shares, and then take that bad boy higher here going into the end of the year, okay? So, but right now, watch that 8 SMA here. This is such a beautiful trading. It hits that 8 SMA. I just go long and take it right on up here till it sells down till they take the 8 SMA. Look at how many times that you could have bought and sold this bad boy. Now, on the upside, well, you got 131.88, okay? So realistically, this could push to 135, 140, 150 very, very easily here. But when you look at this, you have your RSI here, okay? So we're in kind of like nosebleed territory. That does not mean that it can't stay there. It very well can, okay? So when you look at this, it very well can. So we look in the back of the chart here, see how this here all held this until we got that one sell-off, came down to that 21 day. But you can hold that RSA in that overbought condition for quite a while. Okay, so don't ever think that you can, just like we are right here. Now, you look at the green is over red. This is very, very bullish. There's nothing that tells you that you got to sell. Okay, but again, I'm a long of this. I'm a long-term trader. I have long shares, but I trade this every day also. Okay, so here's another opportunity here, same way as we had here. You can see where that relative strength index is just roll right there, just absolutely awesome. Okay, and then what it does is it came down here a little bit here when he had the little sell-off, but look at here, we have that strength going right on in here. But what we're looking for here is, we don't know if this is going to be, but you have a high here, and then we have a higher high. So right now you got like a negative divergence. But again, if this keeps on running, you can still push it up and get high as that here. But just always watch that relative strength index, okay? Right here, your green is above your red, but you are in nosebleed territory here, okay, as far as this stock goes. But again, let it run until it tells you different. You lose that 8 SMA here, then that's telling you something different, and you guys got to get out. Now, again, how I set these charts up here, I do very, very easy. These blue lines here, these are price channels. This here is an 8 simple moving average, 21 day, 50 day, 100 day, 200 day simple moving average. Keep your charts simple, okay? Volume, RSR, RSI, MACD. I've used every indicator in the book. This is all you need right here to trade to make money. Keep your trading simple. That's how you make it. And don't be afraid to take a profit. I have long shares of them, but every day I take a profit. You take a profit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By the time you get to Friday, you're going to say, holy shit, that ironworker guy is man, he's onto something here. That's right. By Friday, you look it up and say, oh my God, look at the cash I got here, okay? And don't be afraid to say, hey, oh, geez, I didn't buy the bottom. Who cares? I didn't sell the top. Who cares? Get that meat in the middle is all you care about. That meat in the center, that's all you care about. Get out, okay? If the NVDA falls off the map, you don't care, okay? You can always buy it up again. And another thing is too, is like strength. Okay, this had a gap up here. You can buy it on strength. Okay, always remember that. You can always buy stocks on strength too. You always don't have to buy at support. If it starts breaking through resistance, jump in that thing and take it higher. Okay, that's what I got for you on the weekend edition. Now, I'll be back here later today. Now, the future's open here at 6 p.m. I'll have a video for you before 7 o'clock, and that's always crude oil and natural gas. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Boy, we went for a hell of a mountain bike ride yesterday. Kicked some major ass. It was totally awesome. Okay, thanks for watching.